So a few weeks ago, the big story of the day was this.
And last night, Progressive Democratic Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez used New York's fashion charity event, the Met Gala, to make a political statement. She wore a white dress with a message emblazoned in bold red, "Tax the rich."
Tax the rich.
And that, of course, immediately put me in mind of but if the phrase "tax the rich" pays homage or reference to "Eat the Rich" by Aerosmith, then that itself is a comment on a much older story, which I'm going to quickly highlight here. Ready? So this goes back to a work by Jonathan Swift, who you might know better as the guy who wrote the stuff about Gulliver. A lot of people don't realise that Gulliver's Travels is actually a deeply political work. Oh, actually no, most people do realise that. They just don't give a shit. But in Jonathan Swift's A Modest Proposal, he takes the stance on the famine in Ireland of that the poor should eat their babies.
But tell me about these oppressed masses. What are they so worked up about?
They're worked up, sir, because they're so poor they are forced to have children simply to provide a cheap alternative to turkey at Christmas.
And of course, he didn't really mean that. It was to deliberately create a polemic in order to get people talking about the problem. But yeah, the problem with Swift's A Modest Proposal was that there were certain members of the English society who believed that this wasn't a work of satire at all. It was a genuine suggestion that the poor should eat their own babies. And there were even discussions of whether the poor might be willing to sell their babies to rich aristocrats for them to sample a bit of the local cuisine. So now jump forward a couple of hundred years, and we get to AOC's dress. I'm not going to go into the debate of whether there's any political merit or not in going to a place full of rich people and making them titter a little bit. What I would like to talk about is something which I've not heard anybody else talk about, and therefore this is a completely original idea. Hooray for me. Copy and paste it if you like. I want to propose an alternative slogan. It's not tax the rich, it's tax the shares. Tax the shares.
Tax the shares.
I'll say it again, for anyone who cares. I think it's time we tax the shares. A bit of freestyle for you. That's it. That's it. I don't need to say any more. I think I'll just put that up in big letters here. And 20 million super rich people still do this with their money. So the fact that there are even 20 million super rich people is enough. What pandemic? The rank of super rich people actually jumped 6.3% in 2021 by largely sticking with the same investment strategy, owning mostly S&P 500 stocks. Do you see? You see? All of their money comes from stocks. The 20 million richest people. Billionaires' wealth rises to 10.2 trillion amid COVID crisis. This is from The Guardian. The world's billionaires did extremely well during the coronavirus pandemic, growing their already huge fortunes to a record high of $10.2 trillion. So, $10 trillion times 1% of tax. If they only paid 1% of tax, then the world would have
3 zeros, 6 zeros, 9 zeros.
$100 billion extra to fight the coronavirus. And that's in one fucking year. 100 billion just by putting a 1% tax on shares. Oh no, and that's the shares of those super rich. What about total share price of US stock exchange? What is the total value of the US stock market? The total market is $95 trillion. 95, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. $95 trillion exists on the stock market in America. This is only America, remember. If we taxed that at 1%, then the American economy would have 950 billion extra per year. Do you think you could end poverty with that much? Do you think you could do anything useful with that much? How much is the UK stock market worth? Here we go. 3.8 trillion. It's only a little country, but 3.8 trillion, quick mental maths, 38 billion. An extra 38 billion to add to that massive pile of money that they've saved up from leaving the European Union last year. Where's the money, Boris? Stock traded, total value. World. 62 trillion. That's 3, 6, 9, 12 zeros. Times 1%. So if all the world's shares were taxed at 1%, then that would make $620 billion per year to tackle global hunger, lack of shelter, lack of access to clean drinking water, whatever and all of the things that you want to tackle. But if you just keep it in each country, then you can see that the numbers are astronomical. Astronomical. Because they're still going to be getting taxes from everything else. We're all still going to be paying fucking taxes. But bearing in mind this is 620 billion extra per fucking year, then even if you set yourself an ambitious target like in 10 years time we want to have ended all forms of poverty and fixed the climate crisis, and by now COVID would be over and they'd still be as fucking rich as they already were anyway. So, once and for all, the message is clear, and I'm saying it again for the purpose of repetition, of repetition. Tax the shares. Tax the fucking shares. Tax the shares. I'm not going to wait till you tax the